Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus arcade video. Today we're going to be taking a look at, which is actually on the screen right now, Virtua Fighter, released in 1993 on the Sega Model 1 arcade hardware. I'm just going to give you a quick look at how I have this whole thing hooked up here. Now what we have here, this is the Model 1 arcade system here. What I had to do is, since when I got this, the cables for the fan, which is right in the back here, I'm not sure if you can really see that all that well, but they were like cut, so I took these cables here from a junk harness that I had, and I extended them out, and you'll see, I don't know if you can see this all too well, there's a 12-volt plate right here, and a grounding plate right here, so I just connected alligator clips to the 12-volt on the ground, and then just clipped them onto the plates, so the fan in the back here, actually spins and keeps the system nice and cool, because I can feel that this system is nice and cool even on the bottom where it would normally get really hot. Now you see I just have a, you probably can't see because the light's not on it, but you see there's a video converter sitting over there. That's just connected to the normal connection that I use for Sega Model 2, and then it's just connected to the monitor up there. And over here, get some light in here so you can see it. This is the Sega Model 1 soundboard. That's connected into that connector I showed you in the new pickups video with a 6-pin connector. If you see this wire, which has yellow, red, and white wires going into it, it's right there. You'll see it going right off the board. That's actually giving it power, so all of its little lights are on. And then in the back there are those two wires which go into that mixing board, and then the wires from that mixing board go into a one of those composite right and left audio to a headphone plug adapters, and that plugs into my speakers. And of course what I'm capturing, I just plug that into the video upscaler and the VGA from the video converter here into that same upscaler, and then I'm able to send that into the Elgato and capture the video. And of course, just like usual, I have the same, I have the full wire harness for the Sega Model 1 here. It looks like a bit of a mess, but it's kind of organized chaos, if you will. I have all the proper wires plugged into the proper things. I just got to make sure all the plates for our different voltages don't touch. Like there's one for 12 volts, which I don't believe actually connects to anything on this harness. Then there's one for ground, which is white, and then 5 volts, which is yellow. One wire from the controller harness connects to the 5 volt, and then the other one, if you see it here, I don't know if you can see it on the other side there, the other wire connects to the grounding plate. But yeah, that's how I have this hooked up here. Nothing really all that exciting here in the test mode. You have a few things in game assignment that you can change here. Cabinet type is the only strange thing here. It changes from Super Megalo to Astro City 2, and all that does is it changes the energy for player 1. I don't know if you can see that all too well, but it changes the setting that I have this on. I have Super Megalo, which has energy 200, 1P 160, but if you change it to Astro City 2, it changes it to energy 180, 1P 144, so I'm not sure what's up with that. I know the Super Megalo, if you saw in the beginning there where I had the flyers, is that big cabinet that's like a sit-down one. And of course you can change your country, USA, export, Japan. I don't believe there's all that much difference there. And of course, when I first started getting this thing to work the other day, advertised sound actually was off. So I thought the sound was broken, which actually turned out it was, so I had to swap out the wire. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get out of this test mode. I think I've blabbed on enough, over 4 minutes here, and we're gonna get right into it, and I'm gonna show you some gameplay off of the actual arcade board here for Virtua Fighter. So let's go ahead and get right into this. Okay, and as you can see here, here's the title screen, and it's gonna show a little bit of the demo. I've already uploaded the intro in a separate video, and of course you saw it really quickly in the new pickups video. But yeah, as you can see here, these were just the default high scores because I only actually beat this once before recording this, and I don't think I actually beat that that horribly bad bottom time. So Yeah, I did pretty badly, but as you can see, all the characters are represented here, and unlike other games where you would just show portraits, this actually shows the real rendered character, which I thought was a pretty nice touch. And one thing I definitely have to say when playing this version as opposed to other versions, especially like the Sega 32X version, the music in this game sounds amazing, considering this is being like brought off of a ROM board. It's not Red Book audio or ADX audio like on a Naomi game or anything. And plus, you gotta realize, this is 1993, and this is one of those games that I always say, it's the father of modern 3D fighting games. Now, this game at any given time will serve 180,000 polygons per second, which in today's standards doesn't sound like a ton, but it really is. And that's one thing I think is hilariously funny, is when Jackie goes, yeah, his mouth opens so wide, it looks like inhuman, but what I was saying is it's 180,000 polygons per second, which back in 93, considering this was one of the first major 3D arcade hardwares, that was a lot. And if you see there by comparison, Sarah's mouth is a little bit less humorous than her brother. But, one of the cool things here is that this actually was co-developed between Sega and General Electric Aerospace, which, General Electric Aerospace was a company that would make the simulators like in the 1960s. They actually had been acquired by, Martin Marietta in actually around a little bit after this, and then eventually Martin Marietta and the Lockheed company became one and became Lockheed Martin. And yeah, they were responsible for the making of this. And now I'm gonna tell you really quickly, there are a lot of matches I lost in this. I can see quite a few cuts when I look at the footage. But this game isn't the easiest game in the world, but I can actually go as far as to say, if you're talking about like difficulty factor for an early fighting game, I would say it has a bit less of a learning curve than say the original Tekken, because that game can be horribly brutal on you, because I don't know, it just seems like the characters in it can just beat you really quickly. But here are a couple tricks you can actually do. You can actually play as Doral, and what you have to do is you have to beat the game, beat the computer, Doral, have 2 games worth of credits in the machine and ready to go. After beating the game, you have one player press start to pick a character. As soon as the character finishes smiling, but before the actual game starts, player 2 should press start to interrupt the process. If your timing is perfect, then if the stars are aligned, and you're a good boy or girl, player 2 will come in as Doral. Now, I can honestly say, that was from the history.dat. That sounds a little bit, like, incredible, and I don't think it's one of those things that actually is real, but, you know, one of these days I might actually give that a try. And there actually is a pretty cool thing where you can actually view the credits. What you have to do is, you view the credits for the programmers, holding down the start button during the demo. And when it comes to the standard demo with Sarah holding Kage, the credits will come up. Keep holding the start button, and the credits will keep coming, or they will freeze or stop. And of course, one of the weirdest things in Virtua Fighter is the whole thing with Kage's face mask. It seems that after about 3,000 plays, the mask of Kage falls off instead of just like his headband. And you can see his teeth and scar on his cheek as well, which is actually a pretty cool thing. And now, as opposed to the other Sega boards, I had briefly mentioned this in my new pickups video, but the I/O board and the soundboard, as you can see in the beginning there, are actually not part of the main board set. The I/O board is actually a separate board that's in the front, and that actually connects to the main board, and therefore feeds the power and the sound and everything from the main board into the filter board. The actual video, the 4-pin comes from the filter board, goes directly into the main board and actually bypasses the I/O board entirely. And then of course that 6-pin connector on the front lets me make this thing make sound, basically. But yeah, definitely have to say, after playing this game, this is one of those games that it really does give you a more of an appreciation for this series after having played the original in its like 100% original form. And there were a couple like home console ports of this, but honestly nothing was all that great in my opinion. But of course you had your Sega Saturn port in 1994, November 22nd of 1994 in Japan, May of 1995 in the US, which would coincide with the release dates because it was a launch game. And in Europe they had to wait until July of 1995. The Sega 32X and Super 32X, as it was known as in Japan, also got a port of this. In Japan, they got at it on October 20th of 1995, and in America for the 32X we got November 30th of 1995. Now, I really don't count this, but for some reason in History.dat they count Virtua Fighter 10th Anniversary. Because Virtua Fighter 10th Anniversary was based off of Virtua Fighter 4, I don't think it's a port. But also there was the Windows PC version on August 31st, 1996. And then there was also a Tiger handheld game in 1995 as well. The Windows port, unfortunately, just like the original Sega Saturn version, was based off the Sega Saturn version instead of being based off of what we see here. So it was limited by what the Sega Saturn version could do. But unfortunately at the time, I don't think a PC could have rendered the graphics as sharp as the Model 1 board does here. Now this is another thing I'm going to mention here. The first time I actually beat this, which there's no way for me to like prove this because I wasn't capturing it at the time, of course, but I actually had beat Doral, and it went down to the whole 5 matches. Like she won 2, I won 2, and then finally I beat her for the last time, and I was so surprised. But for some reason, no matter what I did today, I could not make heads or tails of her. I just kept getting destroyed. And that's one thing I was surprised at when I first saw Doral, that the character model is so skinny compared to how it looked in other games. And since it's a completely like metal humanoid, it looks more mannequin-like and less like it's something that's alive, or if you will, she's something that's alive. And that's one cool thing, is they still have the clangy metal sound that we're so used to from all the other games. And now, of course, this is the cool part where it shows all of your wins from from every round. But I definitely have to go on record and say that this is an excellent fighting game. If you're a fan of arcade games and you like to collect arcade hardware like I do, I would highly recommend picking up a Sega Model 1 arcade hardware to play Virtua Fighter 1 the way it's meant to be played without any nasty emulation glitches. And as you see, I actually got on the chart this time, and I actually got number 1, unlike the first time I played, where I think the minimum time I could have played was 18 minutes. I somehow did not even do that, but yeah. Definitely buy this game. I highly recommend it. It is an excellent game. This has been another Game Nexus arcade video, and I shall see you later. Bye.